Hey everybody, welcome to another podcast here at Championships. Today, Elliot and I are going to talk about the UFC 299 card and what we watched last night. Starting at the headliner of the prelims, which was Blades versus Almeida. Elliot, obviously you tuned into the fight. What are your first thoughts
Yeah, I
about the
saw.
outcome?
So this fight I actually saw at the end, right as Curtis got the knockout. No, really good performance overall. Um, yeah. And honestly, I didn't even realize their rankings until I just looked them up now. So Curtis Blades is going to go into a contendership essentially with this, right? So I mean, does he fight Tom Aspinall? Is Tom Aspinall still waiting around for Jones or this fight to take place? Like, what do you think's going on with Aspinall right now?
Well, Aspinall came out and said he'd fight him on socials a little while ago,
Okay.
but honestly, I think from a matchup standpoint, the fight I want to see is Gon versus Aspinall, just for the stand up, the movement.
Okay.
Both those guys are probably, I think, the most elite strikers in the division to make it more entertaining.
I'd say
Aspinall does
so.
more well-rounded game. I can see him just subbing Gon, but ideally they stand up for a bit.
Yeah. The heavyweight division's weird right now because Tom Aspinall he should be the champion, but he's not. Um, so why
Right.
so why don't you
I don't.
think Curtis Blades just goes right into an Aspinall fight? Why do you think he needs to fight Gon before he goes to an Aspinall fight? Or are you just saying
No, I
just for
was saying I think
yourself?
Aspinall's going to fight Gon. I think Blades
Okay.
ends up on the shelf for a minute.
Yeah.
Um, I've always wanted to see. And the other thing too is after watching Blades fight today, his defensive wrestling isn't what I expected against Almeida.
Hmm.
So that puts him in a situation where I feel like someone like Aspinall, who I've seen get people on their back and definitely sub them,
Yeah.
he may be more of a threat to Blades than I thought on the ground.
Right.
Then obviously in the stand up, I think he has the advantage.
Right.
I think Blades is like one of these top 10 guys that always hover around there, but I don't think he's ever going to be able to put it together to get the
To
belt.
win a belt. Yeah. Um, how do you think he does against Jones? Just throwing that out there. Obviously, he's gonna be put on the shelf while we're still waiting for Jones to recover. Um,
Talking Blades, right?
yep.
I think John is better at everything than Blades.
Yeah.
The person I want to see Blades fight, in all honesty, Almeida was one of the first guys, and the second guy, I'd be curious to see the classic striker versus, uh, wrestler matchup with Pavlovich. Because I mean,
Yeah.
Blades fought Francis a couple times, didn't do very well.
Right.
So I'm curious. Sergey is like the white Francis. I would
Hmm.
like to see him get in there with a striker like that and see what he can do.
Yeah. Yeah. All great matchups for sure. I just wish the heavyweight division wasn't kind of a mess right now.
Yeah.
Uh, Next fight, opening up the main card, Piotr Jan versus Song Yadong. I got worried, so I actually put money on Piotr Jan. In that first round, I get what he was doing, obviously. He was trying to feel him out, but he looked very timid, reacting to everything that Song was throwing at him as far as takedowns. Looked very, very nervous or tentative in that fight. Second and third round, obviously, he came back and just absolutely crushed Song Yadong, but even on the ground, which was awesome. But yeah, no, the fight had me worried for a second.
Yeah, those guys both seemed like they gassed out by the third. I thought Jan looked a little bit better than Yadong. Like Yadong looked like by the middle of the second, like his whole body language just looked very fatigued, and they
Yeah,
were fighting at a crazy pace.
yeah. No, it was a wild fight. Um,
I think the big thing there was like a difference of someone being able to put together combinations versus someone that was kind of like,
Piotr's head movement is insane too. He had
yeah,
really good head movement, really good footwork. I mean, all around just looked fantastic. Now, obviously, he's coming off three losses, two losses.
I think it was
Um,
three in a row. It was
yeah, Eljo,
Sean,
Sean,
yeah, Aljo,
Marab.
Sean, and Marab. Yep.
Yep. So, where does Piotr go next? Does this go to a contendership, or does he need one more to maybe kind of solidify that spot? Obviously, you got Marab fighting next. Sandhagen's still up in the air, but he should be next, right? Or do you think he should get through Sandhagen first?
Well, I think the way I'd work this out is I think O'Malley needs to fight Sanhagen and Marab. Marab going first.
Yep.
Umar is the hot name in the division, but he's down in the rankings.
Yep.
Do you think they could get Pewter to fight again down the rankings against Umar? Some Russia versus Russia action. Maybe they get like some kind of Russian event where they headline that or something like that.
I would personally like to see it, but
'Cause I see Cheeto being on the shelf for a minute with all the damage he took.
yeah,
Cejudo's up in there if he's going to fight probably again, and who? I mean, he's
Figgy's not even in the division anymore.
right, and Figgy's fighting Cody, which is more of an entertainment fight than anything.
Yeah.
So it kind of puts you in a spot where I think Peter and Umar both recently fought, and it makes sense from the possible title contenders. I mean, there's people talking about how Umar should be in title contention, but
Right.
you want to put him in there when he's ranked 10 at this point.
So yeah, Peter would be looked at as a gatekeeper almost, and then if he beats the biggest prospect, then yeah, I definitely think there's a title fight. Okay. Yeah, I want to see Umar before he fights for the title. Plus, I don't think he wants to be waiting around either. He might want to use this momentum and just get right back in there. So I think if they can get it done, it'd be a good fight.
What do they do with Corey, though? That's what I don't understand.
Is he still injured?
No, he's healthy. He was in the crowd
Okay.
yesterday.
Okay.
So obviously, Marab's going to get a shot. Sean's a little bit banged up. Sean's probably going to fight International Fight Week or something.
Yeah.
So what does Corey do in between then? I mean, look at the rankings. What does he fight? Rob Font?
No.
Does he fight Umar? He might be the one that fights Umar.
Yeah, that might be more likely.
They rebooked that because that fell through.
Yeah, that might be more likely. Corey, yeah, everyone's kind of busy. Although Corey just beat who? Who did he just beat? It was a close
Corey
decision.
wrestled Rob Font. So
Okay.
I messed that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was where he hurt his. But I think he hurt his tricep and wrestled for 5
Yeah.
rounds. So everyone gave him a bunch of shit about it.
Yeah, which still was a good fight with an injury.
Yep.
He beat Vera.
Show some variety.
And he's on a
It's
win streak. I
good
mean, he beat Song, he beat Vera, Font. He should just come back in for a title. Let Umar and
fight.
Piotr
Can't though
figure
with
it
this
out.
division. This division's moving. There's a bunch of guys deserving the titles. The problem is they did so many rematches and kind of shuffled these guys around so much,
Yeah.
bringing people in that shouldn't have been fighting for belts, that they screwed up the actual deserving contenders.
Oh, you're talking about the little guy. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, between Rob and Henry, like Henry
Yeah.
shouldn't have ever been fighting.
Henry,
I mean,
Henry shouldn't have come back for the title. It kind of delayed everything. You're right. All
Yeah,
right.
he should have fought. Like, had like a little warm up fight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Next fight: Jack Della Maddalena and Gilbert Burns. Jack Della Maddalena.
JDM.
JDM. Gilbert looked good. I
Yeah,
thought it
for
was
being
the first,
37 and out.
Yeah.
Good.
I thought it was the first close 2 round. I gave it 1-1 going into the third. Obviously, it didn't matter because he got the TKO anyway, and Gilbert looked bad at the end of that fight. I mean, rough shape. I mean, like, it was a bad knockout.
I had Gilbert winning the third. I think a lot of people did.
Yeah.
Until that finish.
Yeah. So he called out. Remind me, who did he call out at the end of the fight? It was
Shavkat.
Shavkat. Why is Shavkat not fighting for a title? By the way.
They asked him about it, and I don't know if it was
That was
he's
for
Muslim too, and it was Ramadan or not. I forgot what it was. They were trying to book that for 300, I think.
yes, yeah, but I think he was injured. I believe he was injured. Regardless, so but I mean he leapfrogged Bilal then for that position, right? Because Bilal should be the #1 contender.
Yeah, I mean,
beat,
again with this
Thompson.
division, there's a lot of stuff going on. Like Leon should be fighting Bilal,
yes,
I think.
I believe
Ideally,
so.
right?
Yep.
Maru is doing what he wants. He might be at 185. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that puts you. This next contenders would be Shavkat. Obviously, Gary's got some steam.
Yeah.
Jack. I would say those are the next 3 contenders. Those are all 3 young fighters.
Yep.
They probably don't want to cannibalize all of them against each other, but they're going to have to.
Right.
I mean, Ian called out Colby. That's 5'6". That's good matchmaking if you want a striker versus wrestler. Changing the guard. Shavkat versus Jack. I would love, but I don't know if they're going to want to do that.
They're not,
I mean,
they might
ideally
not
they have
screw
a
up his record.
Right.
You know?
So, do you try to get Kamaru to fight at 70 to fight Shavkat? maybe.
That's not an easy night for Shavkat.
No,
Might
but
accomplish the same
Kamaru
thing. Yeah.
seems like he's not really willing to engage in the wrestling anymore. I don't know if it's because of his physical condition.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think that helped Shavkat out a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, Ideally, it's not. I don't really think it's possible. Leon makes quick work of Bilal, has a quick turnaround, and kind of doubles up.
I can see that. I mean, he's willing to fight everyone. I mean, he accepted 3 fights for 300 that got turned down by the opponents. So
Right. All right, because Gilbert's going to be out for a minute. I mean, you have Sean Brady, who is interesting, but I don't know who you want to match him up with. Because
yeah.
I mean, obviously Jack's going to move into to around the top five.
Well,
Do you think Colby gets bumped out of the top five and they put Gary and Jack in the top five?
I don't. Is that fight gonna happen? Is Colby gonna take the Ian Gary fight? I mean,
Probably not. I don't know
like,
if he's going to fight
I
again.
don't know why Colby. Yeah, exactly. I don't even think Colby should be in the equation. I think they should just do Jack and Ian and make that the number
Yeah,
one
that'd be great.
contender.
That'd be,
Honestly,
yeah, that'd be
I think that would
yeah,
be the way to go. Colby's not
yeah.
gonna do shit. But obviously Burns is out. Let Leon figure out Bilal, which I think he smokes him,
Let Shavkat eat Colby and just get rid of him for good.
or that.
Yeah,
Yeah, if they really need to solidify a number one contendership, just have Shavkat go against Colby, Ian versus Jack, and then you get
right.
your two contenders right there. Pass
Yep.
Bilal. I think that might be the
Yeah.
way to go.
And then when Gilbert comes back, I mean, you put Gilbert against one of these older guys, maybe Jeff Neal.
Sure.
Kind of have an interesting matchup
Even
there.
Stephen Thompson, but I don't know. He wouldn't do well against
They
Gilbert.
they fought before, and
Okay.
he got wrestled to
Yeah.
death by Burns. I wouldn't want to watch that again.
Yeah.
So the next fight we had was Holland versus MVP. Um, I've seen some MVP fights in Bellator. I've seen him fight Douglas Lima. I saw his crazy knockout of Cyborg, which is how I found out who he was a handful of years ago. I knew what to expect from his style, but the thing was I thought Kevin would be able to clinch him and trip him or something like that, which it seemed like he tried to do. It just didn't happen. And the speed difference was the biggest thing in this fight. Even though Page is almost 38, he was much faster than Kevin.
Like a whip.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean, my thoughts were, kind of similar to yours. I mean, the hands down thing is wild to me. The way he's able to close distance like that was a sight to see for sure. And they were all precision strikes. Like he was hitting them clean with almost every shot. I mean, obviously Kevin's got a big chin or a tough chin, going up against Wonder Boy and stuff. Like he was taking some big shots from Michael Page, and like you mentioned with the wrestling, I thought he would be able to get him down and keep him down. That just wasn't the case. He just couldn't make anything really happen. It was frustrating,
Right.
And I think toward the end of the third, obviously he was taunting him at the end, but I think he was just getting frustrated with the whole style of it, just him not being able to close that distance and really land anything clean. Overall, it was a good fight. I don't know where Michael Page goes now. Obviously, being 38.
They got to rush him to
They
a
got to
title
rush him. Yeah. I mean, does he need? I know we just talked about the welterweights. The likes of Shavkat. Does he just go right for a title? I mean, I don't think you can beat the 14th.
No,
or
you got to
15th
do
guy in the
you got to do
rankings,
one
but-
more.
Yeah.
You got to do one more, and they're not going to kill off one of their prospects with a guy this far into his career. So it's going to fight another old guy, and then they give him something, I think.
Yeah.
But they're going to kind of push him like Alex. I think they'll realize they have some market with him. Worst case
Yeah.
scenario, him and Leon are going to lead a card in London with Aspinall. They're going to stack it up with him and Patty
Right.
and all these people. And
Right.
They'll have a huge card. But you don't want to put him against Sean Brady. Jeff Neal, he pieces up. Luke Hay has some grappling, and he's barely top 10, so you want to do
Right.
that. So realistically, you have to put him in there with looking at the rankings.
Realistically,
Thompson?
who?
Probably Thompson. I'd love to see him in Gary, but I don't think they'll do it.
He's ranked 8, so is that high enough to jump to that contender? I mean, he beat Kevin Holland, Stephen Thompson, who's older, not really in the top five. Does that jump him right to a title, or do you think he needs to get
I
to
mean,
like Ian
Thompson
Garry?
beat Thompson beat Kevin.
True.
So if you do the math, I mean, it might put him in a spot. Strickland fought for the belt, I think, at rank 7. So,
True, but
uh,
that's kind of a different scenario of Izzy wiped out the division, so he was kind of
true. But
down to
I mean, they're
Strickland.
not going to give Kamaru another belt chance. They don't want Bilal to even be the champ.
They don't even want him.
Gilbert's on his way out. Colby's on his way out. Sean Brady, no one's
Yeah,
going to want him as champ. I like watching him, but he has this controlling, just mauling style that
yeah.
doesn't have a lot of exciting output
I
to
mean,
most casual fans. So like process of elimination, again, we're kind of talking about this. People only want to, or like the UFC, I feel like is only going to back Edwards, Shavkat, Ian,
right.
Jack,
They keep Ian.
and then
Yeah, you're right. It probably is Stephen
MVP if
Thompson.
they want to push him because they're probably. I don't know. I didn't look at what he made this fight, but he's probably making a ton of money.
Oh, for sure, absolutely is. Yeah, I mean, I think that even marketing wise, it's a good tool to use. Karate versus karate. Both are long, lanky style fighters. Both are very sharp, precision strikers. I think Stephen Thompson's a little bit more of a point striker than a power puncher, but don't get me wrong, he's still got some power in his hands. But it's a good fight. Excuse me. Um, Now I heard Nate Diaz is supposed to be getting re-signed to the UFC. Do you think he has any place in the welterweight division right now, as far as like fun
No,
fights go? No.
no, he was a shell of himself.
Okay.
If you're gonna put him in against a welterweight, you gotta put him in a spot where he can succeed. You gotta put him against a name more than anything. You want to put him against Connor. I don't even know. Like Connor and who else? I don't want to see him fight anybody. Tony. I don't want to see either of them continue fighting. Though. I want them to be done.
Yeah. But I mean, if they do sign, I mean, obviously they'd be looking for fun fights, and usually it's a 3-fight deal. Obviously Connor it would be the top one, maybe Ferguson too. Um, but I mean, he gets starched by every other person. I know he called out Usman a while ago. Maybe they can do Usman if he can get back down to 70. I don't know if that's the thing, but
Usman would wipe. I know they tried booking him with Dustin years ago. Dustin would put him in the
Dustin,
coffin.
yeah,
So like, uh, I have no idea.
Mm.
Realistically,
yeah. So
I don't really know where he fits in. He's better off boxing Masvidal and calling it quits.
Masvidal might end up re-signing too. Who knows? All right, next fight up. Dustin Poirier versus BSD. I'm gonna butcher the first name. Benoit. How do you pronounce it?
Benoit
Benoit
Saint-Denis.
Saint-Denis. Um, this is another fight, kind of like similar to the Peter one, where I was a little bit worried about Dustin. Um, Obviously, he came back in the second and got a clean knockout with his right hand on the chin there. What'd you make of the fight?
Well, going in, I was pretty confident Dustin can survive the first round or two. He
Mm-hmm.
probably had a nice decision going his way. I didn't expect him to finish BSD that
Yeah,
early,
I didn't either.
and especially in that fashion. I knew he had a striking advantage, obviously, but I mean the size difference was very, very obvious. The grappling difference that a lot of people perceive was there didn't
Mm.
seem to be there. I mean, Dustin gave up some bad positions, but also his defense looked spot on in a
Yep.
lot of cases, and the skills are there. I just sometimes I think the grappling IQ isn't.
Right.
Like he definitely has an elite skill set, but he doesn't always put it together on the ground.
Yeah.
Um, Especially against people, some higher level grappling, I
Right.
guess. Some of like the Russians, like obviously they've been doing it since birth. They're a little bit more natural at it. Just kind of example. I mean, different than this, but yeah, striking was on point. He pieced him up. BSD just walked in with his hands down and was taking shots for no reason and just trying to like power punch his way through, kind of without any setups or sharp technique or anything. Really, I think he was just trying to bully him around in there. It didn't work out.
Yeah. So where does Benoit fall into the rankings now? Where do you think he goes next?
Where was he? 11. All right,
Um,
12. He was at 12.
He's
So
112. Yep.
I think he probably stays right around there.
Okay.
Honestly, he might jump RDA. Um, I think he's on the cusp of the top 10. He definitely has to clean up his striking.
Yeah.
Um,
What about Dan
watching him
Hooker?
fight, like watching him fight Hooker, you mean?
Yeah.
Or what? Will he
Well,
pass Hooker?
yeah, fight Hooker to try to gain some more momentum going back into the fight. Because Hooker's coming off a loss too, isn't he? Or is he on a win streak right now? I don't know if
He's
he beat Jalen Turner.
he
No,
beat
I
Turner.
apologize.
I would like
Jalen
to
Turner
see him.
booked.
And plus, the Hooker's come off like 2 broken arms.
Yeah.
I would like to see BSD fight Turner. I know Turner just got booked for
Mm.
Moicano, but
Yeah.
uh, the I don't know the winner of that fight in BSD.
What do you think
I think
about
because like
Benny?
he's like the last person in the new generation that's going to be coming up the rankings right now on
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah.
We got some older guys hanging around. I mean, there's other prospects that are available, but if you're just looking at numbers right now, if you want to keep it within the top 13 or so, maybe that's what you do. I don't really want to see him fight anyone else, and obviously he really is like the French version of Michael Chandler,
Yeah.
like an athletic specimen and no regard for what he's doing when he's doing it.
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at the rankings. What do you think about BSD versus Benny DeRouche? Both are kind of coming off losses. You know, could put them in a potential top
Yeah, the
five.
UFC
Or
would do that. Yeah,
yeah,
both come off losses, and the
yeah,
older guy versus the younger guy. Yeah, I can see that. Both grappling specialists.
right.
That'd be a cool fight. That's a fight you can do overseas, like in Saudi Arabia or when they're out on Fight Island or something like that.
Yeah.
That's like a good main card starter.
Oh, absolutely. Now, where does I know Dustin kind of mentioned in the presser yesterday that the lightweight division is somewhat of a mess, just because I think Volk kind of screwed all that up with as far as number one contenders go. Um, Charles is booked. They already fought. I mean, who else could Dustin fight? Does he just go right for a title?
Justin screwed himself over fighting for this BMF. This BMF belt's screwing up both divisions.
That too. Yeah, that's
So
not helping either.
So
Yeah.
because of that, I'm assuming both guys are going to take some damage in that fight. I don't expect it to be quick.
Right.
Because of that, I mean, yeah, Dustin could fight Islam next. Plus, he's an older guy, a fan favorite. The UFC might push that, and then the winner of Charles and Armin fights after that.
Yeah. Which I don't see
Or
Charles walking away from that.
or do you have the winner of Charles and Armin fight the winner of the BMF title for the next contender after
so
that?
sick
I
of
mean,
the
then again,
BMF
like
title.
Islam will sit on the shelf. So like, what do you do?
Right. I think you
This
just book.
BMF thing really screwed it up.
Yeah. And the two Volk fights screwed it up. I mean, Islam hasn't even fought at 155 ever since he became champ. Other than Charles. He fought Charles and Volk twice. So, like,
Right.
it's kind of screwed everything up, too. I mean, I would just throw Dustin right in for a title and have it be his retirement fight, win, lose. I think he's kind of hinted that he's on his way out. He's got a lot of other business ventures that he's doing. I think as far as real estate, his nonprofit, the hot sauce company. I think he just got some sort of a liquor deal. So he knows
Right.
he's on his way out. So I screw it, throw him at Islam. I mean, I don't know if he wins that fight. If considering Islam's called a better version of Khabib, I don't see him coming away from that. But there's a chance. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I don't really expect him to win, but if he did, they bring Connor back from the shelf,
I
fight for
don't
the belt.
care. I don't care about Connor.
No. Connor will fight for the Connor Dustin 4, the lightweight belt, and
Yeah. Okay, this is all coming
Dana's gonna be
together.
like, oh, I love these kids. They're like both
Yeah.
40-year-old
No, I
men.
mean, yeah, Connor's not even ranked. Been out for 3 years now.
Yeah, he's 200 pounds.
200 pounds. Wants to fight at one. Yeah, makes perfect sense to just have him fight Dustin for
Yeah,
the fourth
or
time in a row.
let's just keep this shit show rolling,
Right.
and Islam fights Charles or Armin or Justin, right?
Yeah.
And you take Dustin and put him against the winner or loser of the BMF, or
Oh,
Chandler
okay.
gets screwed over, and you just debut this 165 division to keep talking about between Dustin and Connor for Dustin Connor 4, and then they both retire after that or something like that.
I, I think
And then
that's
you have an open belt and see what happens. I don't know
way
what you
too
do
much
after
of a
that,
mess
but
to be realistic. I could see the winner. Well, it's like so if Justin wins the BMF title against Holloway, then you just do Justin 3. Does anyone care?
I
Does
would
it?
watch it.
I would
Obviously, a
too.
great fight.
Yeah, I would too. I
I just
guess,
don't. I
but
guess it just.
there's really
I guess
no real heat
you're
between
taking two
them.
vets in the sport though and holding them off longer, another year or so from fighting for a belt, possibly. I mean, I think Islam fight twice a year.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, Volk's one of the greats, obviously, but he just kind of screwed up the lightweight division. I don't think the UFC had the hindsight of looking at it.
This all started with Charles pulling out.
Yeah.
All right.
And does Charles even want to fight Islam again? I don't think that's a thing. I think Arman might beat Charles and be the second contender. There's just no contender right now. They screwed this whole thing up. Islam's just waiting around for a fight. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know how this was going to shake out. They have a bunch of good fighters. They should just do a Grand Prix. Take the top 8.
they're not gonna do that shit. All right, your favorite fighter, Sean O'Malley, Sugar Show. Sugar Show. You bet me $2 that your boy Cheeto would win. I took my $2 this morning. You paid it quick. I appreciate that. I was gonna remind you.
I paid it before 2 o'clock.
O'Malley put on a clinic against Vera.
Yeah, Cheeto looked terrible. He just shelled up, walked forward, and didn't have any output. And obviously, that's not going to work.
Yeah, I saw even this morning. I saw some of those knees again this morning. It was rough night for
He
Cheeto.
took incredible amounts of damage. I
Yeah,
mean, Sean looked great. His movement's great. And when it comes to 135, I'm curious to see how Marab does. I mean, I've seen Marab get rocked. So can Marab get inside and get to him? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
O'Malley's weird too because he's really long and lanky. And there's not other than Eljo. There's not a ton of. Corey's pretty lanky, so I take that back. Um,
Umar's lanky too.
yeah, so that's
Yeah, those
interesting.
best guys all in that division are all lanky other than Marab.
Yeah,
The thing too is I was impressed by Sean's conditioning. I didn't
I
expect him to
was
be able to
just
go
gonna
five
say
rounds
that.
at that output.
Yeah, it's his first 5 round fight ever since his UFC career started. I don't know if he fought any 3 or 5 round fights to the finish before the UFC, but no, he's always gotten like first or second round knockouts, and he had that 3 round against what's his name, the guy with the green hair, way back.
Matino.
Yes, Matino. Yes. And it wasn't even 3 rounds. It was like a late stoppage in the third round. So,
Yeah, he got tired of that, but he was throwing heat at him the whole time.
yo, absolutely.
I don't know. I'm curious to see too, depending who's fighting, if someone brings a little bit of a grappling approach like Marab, does that conditioning hold up in the same way? Because I wouldn't expect it
True.
to, but
True.
with he showed that knee, he's got good timing on knees and uppercuts and stuff like that. I'd be curious to
Yeah.
know if Marab comes flying in, if he can connect on him and you know, shut him out.
Right. So Marab's obviously next. I think that was announced last time, or I don't even know if Dana said it last night, but obviously Marab's next. Where does Marlon Vera fall then?
Oh, that's a great question.
I mean, obviously, I think he has to go up in the rankings if you're looking for a fight. Maybe Umar, but coming off
He's
a
out for at least 6 months, don't you
yeah,
think?
so maybe this isn't even a non-issue right now until the division pans
No.
out.
I mean, he could be next to fight someone like Yadong
Oh
or
yeah, that would make
Figgy.
sense. Yep.
Figgy, maybe?
Is Figgy? I thought Figgy's at 45. Didn't Figgy move up?
Figgy's at 35.
I
I moved from
apologize. Yeah.
25 to
Okay. Yep.
35.
Yep. 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 You're right.
I guess he maybe find someone like Jonathan Martinez, someone I like, someone, one of these prospects too. They might feed him to someone like that.
Yeah. I think he's got to fight someone coming off a loss though. Song Yadong, I would like to see. It'd be interesting.
I mean, they fought in the past, and Yadong won. I also think did Font beat Cheeto, or did Cheeto beat Font?
Cheeto beat
They've also
Font.
fought.
Just
Okay.
yeah. Cheeto beat Font. Who's another up and comer in 135? Ricky Simon.
The little dude that looked like Masvidal. Mini Masvidal. What's his name?
Ricky.
Yanez was pretty good.
Oh yeah.
That's when they put him versus Martinez, but those are both good prospects.
Yeah. Maybe the winner of that fight, he could go
Ricky
on to fight in
Simone's been
Europe.
around for a minute,
Yeah.
but he's a brawler, grappler.
So what are your overall rankings of the card? You think this is better than 300? Given the way all the fights turned out.
No, I
No.
like 300 more.
Yeah.
I have since they started finishing up the announcements for it.
Yeah.
I think you have a deeper card with 300. Now, I think the main card on paper may not be as good, but the undercard is insane.
Yeah. This isn't even split up on Google? So it was Yuri is headlining the prelims. Is that how it
Yeah,
ended up panning out?
you
Okay.
have how many former champions in the prelims?
Yeah. Aljo, Bo Nickel's gonna be a future. Figgy, Holly
I'm
Holm,
talking
Caleb
prelims though,
Iverson.
so
Yeah.
your prelims led by Yuri. I think Kelvin and Eljo are on it.
Yes. Yep.
Figgy and Garbrandt are on it.
Yep.
Holly's on it. I mean, so many former world champs are on this card. You got Alex Hill, Whaley, so it's 3. Justin, I guess you count him as an interim, 4. Max is 5. Charles is 6. Yuri 7. Aljo's 8. Figgy's 9. Cody's 10. Holly's 11.
I think that was
Take
the number.
Andrade is 12.
Yeah.
And then if you put Kayla in there for being as decorated as she is from other organizations, am I at 13? Yeah, 13 fighters, man.
Yeah, no, this card's stacked. Were you upset about the main event at all? I heard some. I've been seeing some internet chatter about it.
I wish Hill had more time, but no, I think it's the 2 right fighters. Just maybe the time frame's wrong.
Yeah, I called this in November, by the way. I said Alex will fight at 300. Maybe it was a little bit later than November, but I definitely called it because everyone was just already booked up until that point. So by process of elimination, you either had like him or I thought Islam, but it was too close to Ramadan. I thought and Leon was obviously in there too. If he got offered 3 fights, he also made sense going into that. It's a little bit short notice, but no, I think this whole card is just absolutely insane. How do you see? Oh, we're not going to get too much into this. How do you see Alex and Jamal playing out?
Alex.
Yeah. Alex is the best.
Just because he's been active.
Yeah.
That's my logic. I think it'll be a good striking matchup.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Good episode, guys. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Any last words, Connor?
No, other than if you have any advice for us how to break these down a little bit better or change the format, let us know.
Thanks, guys.